pandemic got us into a reflective space and made us look inward to see what we can do for the world at large. As a self expression coach, I became a catalyst for women and started Vani, a one on one coaching program for women on finding their voice, to speak up, to be visible. As a storyteller, I spotted there were many ordinary people amongst us leading extraordinary lives, making a difference to the world, and they needed to be heard. Thus was born You and I with Rashmi Shetty, where amazing personal journeys with their uniqueness and individuality are showcased, a reaffirmation of the fact: open your eyes wider. The world is far more beautiful when we acknowledge the presence of both you and I. Our guest today is Commander Vijaya G Bopanna, a pioneer Indian Naval lady officer, an accomplished sports personality, and a corporate HR leader. She attributes her successes in life to her single-minded focus in supporting family, especially her mother and husband. She started playing badminton from the age of 12 and has been the undisputed state champion of Andhra Pradesh across all categories continuously for 5 years. She won titles at the national level and represented India at Wimbledon Badminton tournament in 1986. She feels badminton shaped up her personality and dared her to dream beyond the horizon and opened up another wonderful world of opportunity, the Indian Navy. She's one of the very few young girls who made it through the tough selection process to become the first lady officer in the Indian Navy. She served the country for 14 years and won several awards for her meritorious service. Having played sports and served in the Indian Navy, she already had much more to offer than what corporate India required. Very quickly, she made her place in the HR Leaders League and served as HR head in some of the reputed companies. Listen in as Vijaya shares how attributes like adaptability, dependability, handling success with humility, dealing with setbacks, game strategy, managing and leading teams and people, playing fair and straight, sincerity, hard work, resilience, service before self, result orientation, were all what she learned on the field, both as a sports person and a defense professional, which she now puts to good use in her HR role and her personal life as well. Hi Vijaya, such a pleasure to have you on You and I with Rashmi Shetty. I'm curious to know what little Vijaya was, because you're so positive, smiling, amazing, even if it is a small interaction, whether it's on the telephone or in person. So, what was little Vijaya like to the Vijaya that the world knows you today as?
Hi, Rashmi. Thank you so much, first and foremost, for having me in your chat. I'm really privileged. I never thought, after all these years, I would be interviewed by someone. But it's good to reflect on your own journey. So thanks that I feel extremely privileged. Yeah, to your question, what was little Vijaya like? Little Vijaya was full of energy. He was more a boy than a girl in that cliche statement in those days. So basically, I was very, very, very energetic, very, very high on. We were 5 children, 4 sisters and 1 brother. I always used to give tough time to my brother. So whatever he did, I have to do. He learned cycling, I have to do it. So to that extent, yes, I was a very, very cheerful, bubbly, energetic, always wanting to do something more outside the box, whatever the box created for girls and women. So from the childhood, I think I had that streak in me.
So, as you grew up, how did studies go parallel to your other interests? What kind of a person were you? More outdoor oriented, completely an extrovert or a person who liked time to yourself? What kind of a childhood was yours?
Five children, average Indian family, father is a government employee. In any average middle class family, you will probably have uh, more focus is on studies, right? So not many other avenues are there in those days as well. So I was very studious in my own studies. I used to be in the top five in my class always. Till badminton happened to me. Like I said, I'm a more of an outdoor person. So badminton happened to me by chance. One of our uncle's father's colleague used to collect children in the neighborhood and play badminton in the outdoor court behind my father's office. While that happened by chance, but it became my passion over the time. I would go an extra mile than the other children. Other children would come and just play and then go back to their own routine and other aspect. But it interested me. I said, I want to do well tomorrow. If today I played with a match with somebody tomorrow and I lost it tomorrow, I need to win. And if I'm losing stamina or a breath tomorrow, I cannot be losing that. I have to improve my stamina. So I started parallelly working hard on my own stamina, on my own footwork, you may call it, and then my strokes. So I started doing well. So, and that talent was noticed. I started playing for district, then I started playing for state, and then nationals, and so on and so forth. So that's how I grew up. When I was growing up, there was nothing other than studies and badminton for me. Of course, badminton was first and studies next. So even till college, when all the young girls were focusing on, I mean, they could have time for themselves to hang out, go for movies. What all that I did was play badminton very, very passionately. And for the little time that I am left with, I would study equally hard so that I don't slip in my studies and that position that I have earned in the first 3 or 5. So my day used to start almost at 5 o'clock, wake up, go play badminton till 7:30, come back running. It's all on foot and running. Come back home, take bath, whatever you're given, eat, and then again run to school. Do whatever you are doing in the school. Come back again, go in 5 o'clock, again back to badminton court, play till 7 o'clock, come back, study. My days used to just fly off. So that's how I grew up with badminton and studies, and till engineering, that was the case, even during engineering. So you can imagine at the age of 12 to till the time you are 20, 21, your life completely revolved around these things. But it helps you stay focused on and pursue your passion. I'm very happy that I chose to be one, and I played to the best of my ability and achieved whatever I could.
Have you ever sat down and thought, Vijaya, what is it about badminton that attracted you so much that you're willing to give up so many other things girls your age were doing and spend time with badminton? What were some of the lessons you picked from badminton? What was that magnetic effect of badminton that you were so drawn to it as days progressed as well? 8 years is a long time. 8 years, 9 years, and you finish engineering by the time you're 21, which is 9 full years, your studies and badminton. They were the only two partners you had. So obviously there was something about that game that drew you, right? And where did it take you as far as the game is concerned? Did you represent school, college, and all that?
Ultimately, I represented India in 1980. And I was in my juniors, under 18 category. What made me give so much to badminton is I always, in hindsight, I always think that whatever you do it well. It's not that you do 10 things and be average. While it's a jack of all arts, is also one way of looking at things. But whatever I did, I wanted to do it well. If I'm doing something, I should be good and I should be best in that. So that used to drive me. And secondly, some urge to be different. Like as a young little Vijaya, I was not in the box. My mother and father could never be put inside that box. I did everything that a girl should not be doing. Uh, so, so something, the urge to be different from the regular girls of the neighborhood. So these probably are the two things which have driven me. The more you do, the more you want to do it better, but each time better yourself. So that's, I think I still do that in some cases. If I am into it, I should do it well. Otherwise, you might as well do something which you like, which you are passionate about, rather than being everywhere and spreading yourself thin.
That's so true. That's so true. And this is inspiring. So you represented India in the under 18, the junior level. So where did it take you and where all did you go for those matches? I'm sure you recall all those days with fond
I
memory.
do recall. I do recall both the times. Two times I went outside India. Both the times it happened to be UK, and it's in Wimbledon. Wimbledon is normally known for tennis.
Yeah.
But there is a badminton tournament also that happens there. In badminton, All England is known better than other major ranking tournaments. This is one of the major ranking tournament that I got selected by in under 18 category, and I represented. That is exactly when, just before the engineering, stepped into my engineering education. After that, I didn't have. I had to focus on engineering. So that was the last mile that that I achieved as a badminton player before I stepped into my further engineering.
Okay, and did badminton continue in engineering college as well? Like, did you play for
Yes,
college?
yes, it did. First 2 years, definitely it continued, and I did win tournaments at the state level and played at national level. But in the third year and fourth year, it was becoming difficult to cope up because it's a semester system. You lose 1 month also, then you're lost. And whereas for players, the national camps happen. And these camps are of the duration of 30 days, 45 days. You have to be in the coaching camps. So if you miss the college and be there for 1.5 months, your semester is gone. So fourth year, I could not cope up, and for young generation started coming and becoming mastering the thing and over shooting in the tournaments. They started beating you and all of that. You start losing out to the youngsters at some point in your life sports career. So but that's part of life. I took it in the right stride because career is also equally important. And those days, sports was never a full-time career which will give you financial independence and livelihood. Yes, you can play, you can excel, but will it help you with livelihood for your family? Those days, the answer was very, very clear, no. So therefore, I had to do engineering for my future. So everything happens, at different stages in life. Different things happen. You just have to evaluate your options and take a correct decision and move ahead without regrets.
That's so true. So finally, our engineering badminton took a back seat. Vijaya and engineering's partnership went ahead. And
Yeah.
Where did you go post your engineering?
Post my engineering, I tried to come back to badminton. I thought I will be able to come back. And I was putting all efforts possible to get back to shape and fitness levels and your practice more. All of that, while all of that was happening, because badminton was in my blood. So while the third year, fourth year engineering made me take a step back for badminton, the moment engineering completed, while some of my friends went off abroad writing GREs and other exams, but I thought, let me get back. I'm good. I'm good. So why not I get back? I was trying very, very hard, and I was almost being there. And I would, but at that time, something more happened. So again, at that point in time, I paused and looked at my options and said, what should I do? And I pursued that path. That is nothing other than having the opportunity of being the first batch women officers in the Indian Navy. When I was in 1991, I completed my engineering. So when I was getting back, preparing to get back in badminton, there was a huge placement. Armed Forces opens doors for women for the first time, and a beautiful young lady in white uniform and cap, the photograph, and then I got swept. So of course, I played badminton. I have enjoyed playing badminton for 9-10 years. I have studied engineering. Now, when I was at the crossroads, and this happened again, this happened like badminton happened by chance, and this happened also by chance. I said, no, I can't let it go. I immediately applied for that Naval Indian Navy officers position. There were no women in Indian Armed Forces before 1992. I think that's the first time. All three Army, Navy, and Air Force, they've advertised, they've opened doors for women into the male Bastion society. Applied and I got through. In fact, I got through in Air Force as well as Navy. But Navy uniform was more charming. Okay. I joined Navy.
Pristine white, smart.
Yes, totally. And with the cap, and it's amazing.
So the first day of your entry into the office, your entire training process, and what happened to the girl in love with badminton when you chose the Defense Forces?
I fell in love with the white uniform. I keep changing my love of my life. So great. So after I applied, obviously we would be called to selection process called SSB. That's a good 5-day selection process. First day they eliminate basis the written examination, and after the written examination, whoever passed the written examination, they would stay on for the rest of the 3 days and go through different kinds of psychological, physical, group testing. Basically, they are assessing what is your mindset. Because everything else is, when you enter the Navy, they will teach you. What's your mindset? What kind of person are you? They test you for things which you and I cannot imagine. For example, they kept all of us in a dark room and they were flashing words on the screen and asking you to write English sentences. Imagine an engineering graduate sitting and writing sentences. They're giving words, not even something context for you to solve or anything. Snake, for example, they just flash for a very brief period. They flash a word called word snake. Now, what comes first to you when you hear the word snake? Some people write, I'm scared of snakes and everything. So I still remember very distinctly, I wrote, not all snakes are poisonous. So they test from what you say, from what you speak, what you write, how do you conduct yourself. They are making so many interpretations and judgments. Are you a positive person? Are you somebody who gets scared? Are you somebody who gets pressurized in difficult situations? Or how do you deal with ambiguous situations? So on and so forth. The second in one more test, they have asked us situation. If a warlike situation happens and you are a mother of a child, and what do you do? What do you choose? There's an infant who's dependent on you versus there is a work requirement that is falling, where you need to be there. What would you do in those situations? So these are the kind of things, and whatever you write, there are psychologists who are interpreting your psyche, your mental mental state behind what you said. It's not just English. They're assessing. They call it officer-like qualities. So there also I thought whatever I wrote probably was what I wrote is what, as a young woman of 21, 20 years, whatever you felt you wrote. But when I look back, I've been following it also. It's very coincidence that I've been following. I said, my mother has brought me up and brought me to this stage. So I will trust my daughter with my mother. And if there is a service that is where I'm required and my baby also requires me, and while nobody else can go to where to the workplace. So, but my baby is in safe hands with my mother. I'll leave her with my mother for that period, and then I'll go finish my work and then come back to my baby. So, and my mother has been such a strong pillar of strength in my life, especially in raising my children. So, so this is a kind of testing that went through, and also they see how you are behaving in a group task. Are you trying to take it all yourself, or are you trying to how are you talking to the others who are not able to cope up with it? Are you moving as a group, as a team player? Are you individual star? So many things. So I think more or less I did well, and then I got in bargain I earned and I made lifetime friends in that SSB. 3 of my colleagues have become my lifetime friends. Okay, cleared the SSB, and then there the letter comes after the medical examination. Big thing. After all that, people lose out on medical examination, but that was not a problem for me being a sports person. And so you get selected and you get a letter of appointment, and you go join the Navy Naval Academy. You go by train, you join. Then they, first and foremost, they stop you at the gate and they assemble all of you, and then they give you your instructions and do's and don'ts and all of that. One interesting thing I saw there was, along with us, there were some male cadets also were joining. For male cadets, what happens? They stop at the gate. The first thing they go is a barber shop. Thankfully for women, they didn't take us to the barber shop. They go with nice hairstyles from different parts of country. Yeah, some 20 guys went and go to the barber shop, and when they come out, you can't make out who's who. Everybody looked the same with a zero cut. So that happens with the boys, but thankfully for the girls, that was not the case. So because we were the first batch, people didn't know how to manage us. So we were the trial batch. Everything that the Navy has, I will call more Navy, maybe probably it can be generalized to armed forces. The first batch was a trial batch where the Navy and the officers or sailors in the Navy, the men have learned, or even the management or a government, they have learned how to deal with having women. It's first time for them too, not just for us. So it was both sides were learning as we go by. So it was amazing, and training started, and a lot of instructions, a lot of attention, a lot of press would come and take your photographs. The uniforms would get tested on you. The uniform comes, we all wear the uniform. There is is it fitting well or not? So at least some uniforms which are not in force, we have tried all of them. Different types we tried, different types of uniforms we tried. And the training comprised of both the naval orientation, naval specific training, plus the outdoor training, plus the plus drill, plus physical fitness, everything. It's a well-rounded training. I think I did well in the training as well.
Wow, this sounds like a dream.
Because absolutely. When as I talk, I'm reliving my dream.
Yeah, I can see the joy with which you're sharing every moment of it.
Right. Women were hired only in short service commission. That means it's for a specific number of years. It's not till you retire.
Yes.
Till you retire is called permanent commission. Even then, only male were hired, inducted in under permanent commission. When we started, it was only short service commission that got open for women. Because like I said, they are also learning. They have to figure out whether it will work, it will not work, how things will progress. So we were initially hired for 7 years in the Navy. And subsequently, it kept getting extended. Ultimately, I completed 14 years in the Indian Navy.
Oh, okay.
That was a dead end. Even 14 years, government could not come up with a policy for permanent commission for women. We had to leave. 22 of us joined. And as these extensions were happening, more and more women got dropped out. They felt probably this is not a long-term career and you wanted to do something else. So people kept dropping off. And we came at the end who completed 14 years and kept hoping that, yes, commission would come. I want to continue. I would and grow through the ranks and probably become some admiral someday.
Yeah.
But never happened. And after 14 years, also the government policy, could not be completely, they could not come up with something permanent commission for women. So after 14 years.
Okay.
Women, when they were inducted in the non-combat.
Okay. Okay.
The beginning. Even now, I don't think women are in the. They're slowly opened up more branches for women subsequently. But initially, women were hired in the HR. They call it education in the Navy. The education corps, the logistics corps, the law, and subsequently air traffic control. More on the ground and establishment versus in combat roles like you get posted on ship. And when they could not hire us on ships because ships are meant for carrying weapons, not people. You don't have a luxurious private living setup. You have a room and a bathroom for yourself. They with bunk beds, all men sleep there, and there's an open bathroom where everybody goes and takes shower. So it's a common living spaces that they were there in the because you have to use minimum space for your personal, whereas maximum space would be for torpedoes and sonars and missiles and radars. So that's the reason women could not be posted on ship. Of course, we were one of the more advanced and recent ships. We were sent for a week to go and experiment again, see how things are, and then give feedback whether it is doable, not doable.
Defense is a dream for a lot of us. We see it from the outside as civilians, and we know it's a dream world for us. But as a defense officer yourself, are there certain moments in your experience that you had which forever stay with you as those moments that make you so proud to be part of?
Absolutely, there are many moments. I would say I'll start with the training because a few moments I'll pick up from different points in life. When I was in the academy, I definitely gave you run for their life. I gave a run for their life for the male candidates. What I meant by that was we have a cross country every week. Week-long training happens, and on Sundays morning there's a cross country. So cross country happens, men candidates, male candidates, women candidates, everybody is going together. And I used to be the first amongst women, that is given. But I also used to leave at least 70, 80, even 100 male candidates behind me. There would be probably 15, 20 boys ahead of me and the rest of the boys were behind me. People took it, I don't know for what reason they took it as some kind of offense. So the seniors of those boys, just to give them punishment, anybody is coming after Vijaya will have the rest of the day completely punished. Those days were, you keep rolling or do grass cutting or do floor polishing, and they are small punishment, but so people really used to probably hate me. They would say, please don't blast me. You let me go before you. So that was one fun moment. For some reason, boys used to fear that, if I come after Vijaya, it doesn't matter. They don't want to come first, second, or their benchmark has become Vijaya. If you come after Vijaya, then you have it for the rest of your Sunday is spoiled. Otherwise, after the cross country, they let us go outside the campus for a liberty. You call it go. You can just go out and roam around on campus. Otherwise, we are locked up inside the academy. So that free outing would get jeopardized. So that was one fun moment I still recall. And secondly, few moments. We used to go for camps once in a while. That camps it's basically testing your endurance and resilience and both mental and physical. So you would go as a group, officers, sailors, together. So that time we went for that would involve some 50 odd kilometers of walk with all gadgets and some backpacks and equipment, etc. And then you go camp and you stay there for 2-3 days in the jungle, live minimalist, and do some exercises, events, team building activities, and so on and so forth. Naval type, and then come back. So when we were going like that once, there were many sailors who could not really, cope up with the physical stress, physical fitness. I remember I used to help them, saying, "Okay, you give me your luggage, whatever they're carrying. You're not able to walk, so give me your luggage. I will carry it." And then when you look back, it was a nice thing, good thing to do to help others. But I'm happy that my physical fitness was so good that I could help people. So these are some moments which makes me feel good about being fit as a girl, at a par or even more than some of the men. Because you are entering a male fashion society, you can't be a delicate darling, right? And then say that you treat me softly. So that's not a soft place. It's a rough place to be in. So you have to be there. That's another moment I feel proud of. And another interesting thing is, and I was also daredevil, and without thinking, I would just go for things that probably some people will get scared of. There's an exercise called, every now and then there are naval exercises happen on board ships also. While we were not posted on board ships, we were allowed to sail during the day trip. There's an exercise called Jack Stay. There are many they fire the missiles. They make the formations in a war situation. How do ships make formations for the fight and enemy and so on and so forth? All those dummy war exercises are done annually once. So we were part of that exercise once. At that point in time, they needed volunteers to participate in an exercise called Jack Stay. Jack Stay is when if one ship is impacted by a hit of missile or anything, that means that ship will ultimately sink in after some time. There's a leakage or there's some defect or it's got hit. So at that time, another ship has to go and rescue people from that first people, and then if possible, material. So for that, the other ship, if one ship would be going at some speed, the impacted ship, and the rescue ship would come and go alongside, and both have to go. The rescue ship has to go at the same speed, same direction, in the 0.00 degrees of direction also. They have to go along the ship, and they throw a line from this ship to the other ship, and people have to, like you do the zip line. Now you do it in the outbound activities. You do a zip line from one ship to the other ship at high seas. In the middle of the sea that you are doing. It's not that the ground, if you fall down, it's, you will be rescued. At that high speed, two ships are going, you are hanging and coming from one ship to the other ship. So they asked for volunteers who would like to experience this. A lot of people were very, very scared because there is no support. You are just hanging onto the zip line. And if your hands shiver and shake and you fall down, and this exercise happens at the rear side of the ship. If by chance you fall, there are propellers behind. Okay, so the chances of getting rescued would be less, okay, unless you are really, really lucky. So I opted for it and I went. Of course, my legs were shaking. There is no doubt about it. But you can't show your fear in front of men. That's the quality of officer, whether you are a male officer or a female officer. Officers lead men in that army nomenclature. So you can't be showing you have to lead by example. You have to show courage. So chalo jo ho jayega, chalo, go from this side. So I opted for it, and still, even if when I look back and think, I said, will I be able to do it again? Maybe, probably not. But fun. That was one moment that I really cherish. Another thing is I got the chance to march in the Republic Day parade. So when we were the first batch, like I said, 1992 we joined, and 1993 they announced that one of you 22 people would be marching on the Rajpath. So I thought I was a natural choice, being first. While classroom, I'm not the best. I'm maybe one of the top 5, top 10, whatever. But outdoor, nobody can beat me. Be it swimming, be it parade, be it cross country. Outside, I was kind of undisputed winner. So I thought I was a natural choice for this thing, and I kept breeding my hopes, but I got shattered when I was not selected. For the simple reason, yes, that was a little bit of a cosmetic, look decision also, because they needed somebody taller than me to fit in that framework. There are on Rajpath, if you see, everybody would be the same height, and it goes as one body, 144 contingent comprised of 144 men and 2-3 officers in the front. They all look like they are walking together. It's not 144 individuals, it's one contingent. So probably they wanted somebody who was 2-3 inches taller than me and who will fit in that this thing. Training can be given. Their perspective is they can be trained, but you needed somebody to fit in that framework. And it was a serious setback for me, but nevertheless, I didn't want to give up. I could not be the first one to march on the Rajpath, but ultimately I was the third one to march. I never gave up. I said I wanted to march on Rajpath, and I continued that dream, and I marched on Rajpath in 1995. 1993 was the first lady who marched, and 1994 and ended. So you sometimes setback that teaches you to deal with your setbacks. If everything may not happen the way you want to, you dream, and you shouldn't get shattered or lose sight of, but keep trying. It will happen eventually. Someday it will happen. So, and one more important thing, which is not very fun, but is I had the opportunity to, because we were in the education branch, which is more about people. I was dealing mostly with people, their training, their education, community. So those days, sexual harassments are not yet not yet a law. But things do happen everywhere. When they get reported, they don't get reported. So we had an incident where it's not even official sexual harassment in the workplace, but it was a family matter. There was a matter of incest where the father was abusing the daughter. Somehow it came to light through the Wives Association, and it was given to me. I was chosen to be the board of inquiry officer and investigate that case and completely make recommendations. So today, when I look back, I don't think even in my corporate career as an HR head, I would have handled such a case. Number two, and Navy also gave an opportunity to do the most right thing under the circumstances for the family. So I investigated along with a doctor, because it's a incest case, which requires a medical intervention also. So finally, long investigation, traumatic, closed door, confidential. Ultimately, so what to do next? Ultimately, through my recommendation, I can't share too much there. But ultimately, by the recommendation that we gave, I think we rehabilitated the girl who got abused. We protected the younger one from being abused. We empowered the mother to stand up for her. And of course, there was a younger boy also in the family. He was completely oblivious to what is happening. But entirely, we saved that entire family. It would have been easy for us to sack the person. What happens in current world? If such a thing comes to light to the management of a corporate, they would sack the person. But we didn't sack the person. We recommended strongly that not to sack this person. We said, send him off. Everything is proved and confessed, and everything is done. So we sent him off for a posting non-family station for a good 5 years. He cannot be given leave, because you can do this kind of dictatorship in the armed forces. It's not people can't fight for their this kind of rights. Navy can take such decisions, harsh decisions. In fact, they can put people in the jail also. If you run away from Navy, and the naval police finds you and puts you in jail, naval jail, not the outside civil jail. So these are the rights of the armed forces, some of the privileges and rights of the armed forces. So we posted him non-family station, no leave for 5 years, no right to meet family. And we kept the family in the metropolitan city, in a government accommodation, in the naval school, studying the naval schools with the bank account, making it a joint bank account where wife can withdraw the money, and naval wives as a created naval wives as a support system to this family. So I think it's I get goosebumps when I talk about it. It's not as simple as I spoke. When you are talking to the girl who got abused, when you're talking to the mother, why did you let this happen? When you're talking to the father, why did you do it? And when you're talking to the younger sister, that she says, now my father is trying with me too. Everybody knew. It's like that family. It was very accepted in the family. So such things really open up your perspective and say one need to speak up when something wrong is happening, and not always punishing the person who has done the crime, or who has done this is not the solution to all. You will have to look at a solution which will correct the situation, not just punish the person. So some of these things are really lifelong lessons for me and lifelong experience for me.
That's so true. And looking and listening to you, Vijaya, one thing that I noticed is from badminton, you learn to face life. And from Navy, you learned what it is with relationships, yourself. So at the end, when you finished 14 years and you set out on a new career path, what were some of the lessons you carried from the first part of your life of representing India in a game, and the next part of life where you represented India to save her borders? So, two different careers, but both where you represented the country. When you stepped out of it, what were you carrying in that backpack of life?
A rich foundation to life, and a great value system, and some competencies which the corporate world is struggling to teach people. One is a team spirit. First, focus. When you take up a job, do it seriously, not just for the sake of doing it. So pursuing your passion, doing what you and then the team spirit, helping others. Armed forces teach you a lot of camaraderie. So if you see, I think I remember a book by Harsha Bogle, if I'm not wrong. Most of the things that are taught in corporate, if you call them competencies, if you open a competency dictionary of any corporate, all the things that are the competencies that are listed out are a way of life in sports and armed forces. So they don't package it and call it a competency framework, but it is your way of life. You're playing, you are supposed to prepare for the game. You can't just go and play one day, right? You're winning a tournament, means you're winning that day. How much of hard work goes into it? Hard work, for example, it's a way of life. Okay. And when you go as a team in Navy, I gave you an example of when somebody is not able to cope up, you take the person along with you. So the teamwork, team spirit, how do you deal with people? How do you deal with people in need, humanity, and also executive presence? Executive presence is teachers, it's the, you call it officer-like quality or whatever. So all these things are a way of life. So when I entered a corporate world, and they were a big, if I to say so, they were talking very loud about it. Oh, this is what it is. You have to demonstrate these kind of qualities. But isn't it normal? I mean, for me, my first reaction is, isn't it a normal thing? So that was my this thing. But slowly, you also get adjusted to the jargon of the corporate. But it was easy. It was easy for me. The only thing probably I would have felt a little different is more diplomatic. You're more diplomatic in corporate world. You can't be, that hierarchy is not there. In armed forces, there's a lot of hierarchy driven. So those hierarchies are slightly are not there. So you will have to get used to being by name by the youngsters versus ma'am and somebody saluting you or you saluting your boss. So those protocols were completely out. We used to call officers our wives, ma'am. The other ladies who are not officers but wives of somebody else, we used to call them ma'am. So all those ma'ams and sirs and everything is gone. The hierarchy is gone. So you were all one team. So that is different. Culturally, slight shift is there, but the value system of result orientation, somebody need not push you. There is nobody need to push you. If there's a job, do it. Why somebody needs to supervise you? When somebody needs to tell you, do it. So I think I thought all the lessons that I've learned in sports and the Navy has come very, very handy. And I still think that it puts me in a advantageous position compared to some of them. But at the same time, not knowing corporate ways of working also is kind of a disadvantage. So I'm making a good balance of it.
Yes. So when when you left the armed forces, the Navy, and you came into the corporate world, the civilian world, there must have been a lot of cultural changes here that you had to adapt to after 14 years in the defense services. But how did your career progress once you came into the corporate world? How much of you did you have to alter?
I mean, at workplace, not much, but definitely in my home front, there's a big difference. On a lighter note, outside maids made the domestic health system really is very, very, non-dependable. It's not at all dependable. We had a good system of living community. You have every house had a quarter outhouse kind of thing, and then you will have a family living and helping you out, and you take care of that family. That was the system. But when you come out, that is a big shift. How do I look after my children? That was a big thing. But then that's on a lighter note. That's manageable. But like I said, I did not have to really think of too much of change, other than the fact that I was little. Like I said, I'm more tough for the corporate world. Which I moderated slowly after I realized that probably I need not be, taskmaster. So I used to be a taskmaster when I joined the corporate world, but slowly you realize that you don't need to be in this kind of setup. You don't need to be, you cannot be, you don't need to be, and you cannot be taskmaster. You can get things done through different ways, and by take them for team lunch, team dinner, and praise them and take care of them, spend time with them. But whereas in Navy, it's little hierarchy given, right? So therefore, while we have official events, you don't really are friends with team that you are working in. You do have social events and engagement events and all of that. That's only, I think I had that perception of myself. I was more taskmaster for a corporate world. So which I slowly got it slowly moderated.
Okay, okay. And here comes the next big lesson that all of us had to go through, not out of choice, but out of compulsion, the pandemic. For the whole world, the pandemic was the biggest teacher. And here you were, who had the best of the sports world, saw the ups and downs there. We're part of the naval world, saw a lot of ups and downs there as well. And then the corporate world, you were getting in there, finding your foot, understanding what you need not do, like being a tough taskmaster. And then comes the pandemic. What did the pandemic teach you, Vijaya? What were your reflections from the pandemic?
I think pandemic has shaken up the world, not just me. I'm sure everybody, right from the presidents and prime ministers of the countries, have a lot of lessons. First and foremost, pandemic didn't spare anybody.
Yes.
Brought everybody to the same level. You can be prime minister of UK, you can be a common man in India, and differentiate anybody. So first and foremost, it teached a lot of people humility. Okay, you are not beyond these kind of things. It's only so it in my reflections about pandemic is the first and foremost, it taught a lot of us humility, right? And mostly initially, if you saw that it was in fact impacting the upper class, so to say, or the rich class, people who are more social, more engaging, and more traveling internationally versus somebody who were limited to villages and these things. So it teaches humility. I'm sure it taught humility to a lot of people. The second thing, if I look back, is humanity. Taught a lot of humanity to a lot of people, because you had to live alone. You had to depend on community whom you probably have never interacted. You had to help people who you probably have never interacted. Everybody came together helping out people, being a good community player. It taught people humility and humanity, and also we all have a lot of resilience in us, and it made us reflect on how resilient we are to such pandemic, such situations when something throws you out of balance. And this resilience, especially in India, has come from our ancestors, because people lived a very disciplined life with a good food habits, um, rather than very sophisticated life of where you don't do anything and then you are just in the AC rooms. So it taught people to focus on self-care and health, not just physical health, but also mental health, right? Initially, physical health, everybody, if you saw together, the only one thing was happening all around the world is how to develop immunity system, how to take care, how to do this, how to do this, how to do this. I closed down a lot of groups. I exited a lot of groups of the gyan that I was getting. But then wasn't all that that our ancestors followed already.
True.
Washing hands. Was it something that what washing hands? We were washing legs also before entering the house in our villages. So changing clothes when you come from outside, wash hands, and all those kashayam big recipes people were giving, they were all happening at home.
Yeah.
So it taught people to focus on physical health, and what you eat. A lot of people become very, very conscious of what they eat, how they should eat, what is protein, what is nutritious food versus junk food, don't eat. All that. That's really amazing. What probably as parents we could not do. The pandemic has done the younger generation. And subsequently, mental health. Of course, mental health was always there at the background. Our Indian society automatically supports mental health. Our family system, our joint family system, or our friend system, or our entire social system already supports mental health. In India, we don't have so many depression, or we don't come up with so many depression cases, or we don't make a big issue of depression cases and popping pills like it happens in West East, because it's self-balancing. I'm not saying there's no depression. There is depression. There are people who are going through stress and depression and various things, but somehow our society has a self-balancing mechanism. Okay, but more and more with us following the Western ways of living, people have to deal with that. So as a result, most of the organizations have started focusing or bringing mental health as an issue to the forefront. So these are some of the things, and many more lessons that one pandemic has taught us. But I thought on the top of the mind, some of these I could reflect upon.
Definitely. And as a woman, Vijaya, you have lived lonely journeys. As a sports person, also, there are times when you have to be your best friend as much as your biggest critic. In the defense forces, also, there may be moments where you had to take some crucial decisions all alone. And now, in the corporate world that you are part of, there are some tough decisions that you have to take, tough calls that you have to take. Is there something that you want to tell women who hesitate to take that first step to find who they can be?
They would be bored, because you have lived a significant part of life, whether following or breaking rules. At some point in time, I was breaking rules. I joined Navy and I started following rules because. So anyway, so the first and foremost, what I would tell is, I know a lot of women empowerment and all of that happens when you are stepping into an era of women empowerment and equality and shoulder to shoulder. women have to also equip themselves. You can't enter a space and say, treat me like a woman. Because if you are going to space, you have to, whether we're a male or a female or a transgender, whoever is in that role, there is a role requirement. Prepare yourself to the role requirement. Then that need not be termed as, am I supposed to behave like a man? No, that's not the way to interpret. Focus on the role and prepare yourself for the role requirement, right? Role will not be tapered down because women are entering the space. If the role, some accommodations will be done, but then you prepare yourself, equip yourself to the role, whether it is physically, mentally, or whatever. Number one. Two, follow your passion. Dare to dream. First and foremost, dare to dream irrespective of what obstacles come your way, and also pursue your passion. Once you may fail, twice you may fail, but ultimately you will succeed. In my case, what happened, when I did engineering, I didn't tell you this, there were only 2 girls in a class of 50 boys. Okay. So it's a very unfamiliar ground. You will be awkward. And only 2 women are there. And if that girl doesn't come to college one day and you are all alone, 50 boys. But then I learned to be comfortable with the 50 boys and they learned to be comfortable with me. So in whichever situation you are put in, learn to be comfortable and make others comfortable to your presence. Because, there might be, nowadays the women are everywhere, but these kind of situations probably may not come, but there might be still some pockets of, professions where women probably are the pioneers there. So that is it. A lot depends on you also, how you conduct yourself, how you feel comfortable, and how you make others. Rather than expecting it from others, you do your bit as well, and others will follow, and things will become comfortable. Second is, as a woman, a career woman, whether you are playing sports full time from morning 5 o'clock to night 8 o'clock, or you're in the defense forces where the duty comes first before your family. All the armed forces people, duty comes first than the family. So whenever in this kind of, or a corporate woman these days, where you have the pressure of competing for top positions and where you have to work long hours, what is important for women is to create a support system. Whether you call it your mother a support system, or your friends a support system, your husband marry somebody who is very supportive. That is one thing I would say. I'm lucky enough to have a husband who is very, very supportive, who takes absolute more than 50% responsibility for managing the home and children. So it's important. While, it doesn't happen from day one, he's not, maybe somebody is not like that, but then you will have to make things work for you at home. Everybody in your ecosystem, make them your support system, because without you, your family would be supportless. Women is a great support system to the family, whether it is children or a husband or whoever. So make them your own support system as well, so that both of you can thrive and pursue your own passions. And women are a little poor in networking. I mean, it's not because they don't have the competency to network. It is that after work, I need to go back and do my other responsibility of taking care of children, home, family, organize things for next day, so on and so forth. But at a younger level, junior levels, perfectly fine. You never feel the real need for it. But as you grow senior in the corporate, and even it can be Navy or wherever you grow to senior positions, the network becomes very important. And when you realize, you probably is a little late for you, and you'll have to start afresh. So my advice to the generation is, maybe it need not be my advice. In fact, I see the younger generation much more relationship savvy than we were, our generation. But never lose sight of your relationship, friendships from your school, college, etc. While you make new relations, find out ways and means of networking ecosystem. So that will help you pursue a career without having to drop out. Because it's very important that a woman works and continues working throughout rather than just drop out and, be I mean, basically financial independence is required. And these are some of my advices to.
Wow. Okay. And life lessons in general, because your life has been so magical, a dream for most of us, and you have been in each of those roles. So, three life lessons that you'd like to leave us with.
Okay. First and foremost, I'll say, like I say, I mean, if somebody is trying to box you, you need not get boxed. Okay. Do what is your passion. And if that takes some amount of breaking the rules or bending the rules, so be it. But as long as you have somebody who's keeping your conscious and not that, so bravely you just go ahead and fall in a ditch. That's not the point. But so that's one thing. And it's happening very well these days, even when you call it gender equality or more people coming out of closets, people who want to not to do engineering and doctor versus I want to become a fashion designer and so on and so forth. So people are, it's already happening. So which I realized then, I did engineering for what I am not sure. I'm doing nothing related to engineering at this time. So therefore, it's important to identify what is your passion and follow the passion. And secondly, in the corporate world, I will talk from my experiences. There will be some people who will try to intimidate you. And so you need a lot of resilience and also your own self-awareness and self-confidence not to get intimidated, whether directly or indirectly. It's not always it's direct. Sometimes it can be very subtle and very distinct. So believe in yourself and have the self-confidence, and that comes when you continuously upgrade your knowledge and continuously be updated, either in whatever sphere you are in. Okay. And third lesson is, do not neglect yourself. Okay. You are a woman, you are playing so many roles. We tend to neglect ourselves because the work comes first, the children come first, husband come first, spouse come first. There is everybody who comes first and you come last. So it need not be that way. And it's important that a woman doesn't, neglects herself. So you have to take care of yourself in every possible, whether it is physical health or a mental health or the way you look and present yourself, the way you improve your knowledge. It's all important. So therefore, people must focus, because if you are healthy and happy and upbeat, is when you can help more people to be confident or do good.
Vijaya, when we set out on this conversation, I didn't know what I'll take from you because I knew you had a huge treasure chest of experience, which was so beautiful and magical. And now at this point, all I can say is honored to have you on You and I with Rashmi Shetty and sharing every piece of who you are to tell us all that you need is the right attitude to face life. Be your best version, whatever you do, and life will salute you. So, a huge salute to you and continue to inspire. Thank you for this amazing conversation, Vijaya.
Thank you so much. I'm really humbled, but I'm very thankful to you. Thanks for taking me through this nostalgic journey. In corporate world, I probably have kind of forgotten and shut down these two beautiful parts of my life, which is one is badminton and one is Navy. But in the last 1 hour or so, I mean, I literally relived. And thanks for taking me through this extremely nostalgic journey of my own journey. Thanks to you. It's really amazing. You have made my day, and I think today is going to be very happy. The smile will not fade away for at least for a few days, I'm sure.
No. All we wish for is let it continue to shine on because people like you are so important in our lives.
Thank you
Thank you
so
so
much,
much.
Rashmi. It was a pleasure. Lovely talking to you.
Same here, Vijaya. All the very best and take care.
Thank you.
With that, we come to the end of this weekly quest of You and I with Rashmi Shetty. Do let us know if you know people who make the world beautiful. Write in to rashmi.thethirdeye@gmail.com. That is RASHMI dot THETHIRDEYE@gmail.com. Come, let's explore this amazing world together, both you and I.